What's going on, Tiger fans? So the Tigers just finished their short series in Cleveland, and they're about to hopefully open up a series with the Twins here at Comerica Park. Uh, right now, it's not looking good. I mean, right now it looks like it's about sunset at my house, but it's only a little after 6, and it is dark as all hell. And I live only 15 miles away from Comerica Park, so not that far really. And there's a good shot this game gets rained out tonight. But regardless, let's get the series done. Cleveland Indians were coming back, or were one of the hottest teams in baseball as the Tigers were heading into the Jacobs Field, or Progressive Field. I don't know why I keep calling Jacobs Progressive Field. And the Tigers looked to slow down the Indians a little bit. And, they were coming in 2.5 back, or no. Yeah, 2.5 back. And Max Scherzer had the mound on the first game. In the first inning, Scherzer comes out and looks a little shaky. He gives up a couple hits, gives up a run, and then after that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Scherzer retired the last 22 hitters in a row he faced. If his pitch count was a tad better, there's no doubt in my mind that it had been his first complete game. So I think Scherzer in his last 5 starts has 3 games with 8 innings pitched. And that's just amazing. That guy's been an absolute horse. He's been eating up innings. He's looking really good. And I think he's probably been the best pitcher on the staff to this point. Even though his ERA doesn't reflect it, just the way he's looked on the mound. Even though I think Sanchez has the currently lowest ERA on the staff, but I think Scherzer's been the best pitcher on the staff to this point, and he's looked absolutely outstanding. Miguel Cabrera had a home run this game. He had just still continuing. I think he has 5 home runs in his last 4 games. Cabrera is absolutely ripping the cover off the ball. It's right now. There's no stopping him. He's just in an absolute tear. Valverde came out this game, quick inning for the most part, and Tigers got the win. So they slowed the Indians down. So here's the start I really want to talk about. Justin Verlander comes out, and he only pitches 5 innings. The rain. I was surprised he came back out because he got an inning. A third of an inning pitched going into the 5th, and then the rain delay happened. There was 2 big lengthy rain delays in this game. And he came back out and completed the 5th. He did get the win, but he did give up 5 earned runs. Verlander comes out in this game, retires the first 2 hitters he sees on strikeouts. And then after that, the wheels just completely fell off for this guy. He had a bunch of long innings because he ended up throwing like 110 pitches just to get through 5. He had a bunch of long innings. Before the 4th. Then he comes out in the 4th inning, strikes out the side, 1, 2, 3 in order, and comes out in the 5th, gets that 1 out, and then a lengthy rain delay, then gives up a couple hits, and gives up this moonshot of a home run to Carlos Santana to make it 9-5, because the Tigers were pounding on Jimenez. This is the Jimenez that we should have saw last time, even though he pitched a great game. But the Tigers absolutely pounded Jimenez. He walked, I think, 3 hitters, 2 hitters. He gave up, I think, 5 or 6 hits. The Tigers ended up scoring 9 runs before the before the 6th inning, I should say. And Verlander again, he made it a close game. Give him 9 runs and he makes it 9-5. And the Tigers ended up scoring. Miguel Cabrera hit another home run this game, even though it was a cheapie, help from Michael Bourne. Hit another home run this game, made it 11-7 eventually, and the Indians almost made it close because it was a 9-7 game, and it was looking like they're going to blow this game and going to potentially lose a chance to lose this sweep. And they needed a sweep because Cleveland, like I said, has been really, really hot. And, to go to Progressive and sweep a team, quiet them down, and quiet down their loudmouth fans. I am so sick of dealing with Indians fans on this page and on Twitter and everything else. Shut your mouths. You don't win the division in May. The season doesn't end at the end of May. I hate to break it to you guys, Indians fans. You were in the same exact spot the last 2 years in a row, and you did shit with it in the second half. I'm sick of dealing with dumb Indians fans sitting there talking shit about Verlander and everything else. So let me go talk about Justin Verlander here. I don't know what to say. He's pitched 3 awful starts. I said 2 starts into the season, Verlander just wasn't looking like Verlander this year, even though he pitched his best April of his career. His ERA was really misleading. His velocity was down, even though it's been right back where it should be the last 2 times out. I just don't know what it is. It's not mechanically wrong. It's really not. His mechanics are sound. I was looking at his his pitch release tracker, and from starts we did good, and then starts his last two starts, and they match all the same. He's still releasing, but his command has been awful. His command of his fastball has been bad. His fastball has been flat. It doesn't really have that late life that he usually has to, with that really exploding action towards the end. He's missing with the location with it. He's not really getting his curve over for strikes that much. And then when he is throwing breaking balls, guys are hitting him. He's relying on his changeup more than ever. He's been throwing his changeup more times this year than he has in his entire career. And then, I guess the Indians were sign stealing. They're pitch tipping for Verlander, which I have no problem with guys stealing signs. And that's why, Tiger fans are making a big deal about, oh, the Indians are cheating, this and that. No, fuck you. Because stealing signs and stuff like that has been a part of baseball since forever. It just happens. That's why you got to keep changing up your signs because stuff like that happens. What do you think when guys are on the bases doing certain stuff, touching their body a certain way, when the hitter's like, you don't think they're not helping them tip off pitches if they're not catchers and changing up the signs or whatever, or runners on or whatever? It just happens. That home run Bobby Thompson hit off Ralph Branca and sent the Giants to the World Series in 1954. In the center field of the Polo Grounds, Leo DeRocher had a guy with a telescope. Every game would sit up there at the Polo Grounds. They would look in and steal the signs and then relay them down to Leo DeRocher so the people in the dugout could tell the people what was coming up. They do whatever to tip off the pitchers. They say that home run Bobby Thompson hit was tipped off. It just happens. It just happens, and I'm not going to use that as an excuse for Verlander because he's just been flat out sucking. And I think at this point it's a confidence issue. That's all I can say. I think hitters have made an adjustment to Verlander, and Verlander hasn't made an adjustment to them. I think hitters in this league are well aware of how Verlander's been getting hitters out the last 3-4 years, especially the last two, and they're jumping all over his fastballs. His breaking stuff really hasn't been really sharp, so they're following all that off. And I think that's just what it is. I think that's what it is. He hasn't made the adjustments he needed to make to get hitters out. Because he's looked clueless when he's getting ahead of hitters and trying to get them out. I haven't seen him give up this many 0-2 hits ever. And he's getting rocked. The ball's getting squared up on him a lot. Now, another thing I'm going to talk about is you Tiger fans are an absolute joke. Some of you Tiger fans are absolutely pathetic to sit here and question Verlander about if he's still the ace and he's a good pitcher anymore, he's not worth the money. Just come time he signed his contract, and coming out of last year when he signed that contract extension, everyone was on his nuts. Oh, I'm so glad he's back. I'm so glad he's back. I said the same thing. I'm glad he's back. We got a guy for the long run. And now all of a sudden you got people comparing Verlander 7 weeks into the season to Barry Zito. That's what people comparing his contract to is what it's going to turn out to be. And it's pissing me off because, people call me a homer or whatever. I already said that Verlander isn't the best pitcher in baseball. I've been on record saying it twice. Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher in baseball. Matt Harvey, I think, would be considered one of the best pitchers in baseball. I'm not being biased about it. Verlander's not even close to being the best pitcher in baseball in my eyes right now. He's not. Clayton Kershaw is. But for these fans to come out and talk about Verlander like he's some piece of shit and not giving this guy the benefit of the doubt that he's going to figure it out and comparing his contract that it's an awful contract and he's going to be the next Barry Zito and talking all this shit about a guy that has anchored the staff since 2006, since a guy who's been one of the best pitchers and was the best pitcher the last 2 years in a row in baseball, and down talking him like that and just talking all this shit about him is pathetic. As a fan base, that is absolutely pathetic. For a guy that has done as much as Justin Verlander has, because he goes through a 3 bad game slump, even though he hasn't pitched uber well, numbers, even though misleading ERA this year, but particularly his last 3 starts, he's pitched bad. And for Tiger fans to go out and talk shit like that and just down talk this guy that has done so much for this franchise is just absolutely pathetic. And these fucking Tiger fans should be goddamn ashamed of themselves and shouldn't call themselves real Tiger fans. Now, I don't want to sound like one of those Brandon Inge people, because Brandon Inge people would play the same argument that Inge has done so much for the franchise, blah, blah, blah. You're not a true Tiger fan if you don't do this and all that. But no, Verlander has done a lot for this franchise. Wasn't for Verlander, the fucking A's beat the Tigers, and they go on and face the Yankees. If it wasn't for Verlander, 2011 never happens, because he single-handedly carried that staff till Doug Fister came on in the second half. Winning 24 games. Verlander single-handedly has done so much for this staff, And for him to go through a bad stretch like this, and people to jump on him the way he is, and saying that he's done being a dominant pitcher, he's the next Barry Zito, blah blah blah. That's just a crock of shit, and it's an absolute pathetic joke that anyone would even try to compare that and say that shit about Verlander. That's all I gotta say. He's my favorite player, but I'm not afraid to get on his ass about it. He has pitched like absolute dog shit, and he's looked like dog shit his last 3 outings, and he's pitched like shit the entire year. There you go. I'm not afraid to admit it. But for people to criticize him like he is and not give him the benefit of the doubt that he's gonna fix it is fucking bullshit. And for people just to do that is beyond me. So I'm gonna get into this series with the Twins because this fucking video is going long enough, and I'm starting to get really pissed off. I'm really not looking forward to doing this video, really, because I knew that I would have to talk about that, and I'm getting sick of talking about it. I'm so sick of it. Porcello goes up against Scott Diamond. Scott Diamond owns us, so if this game does happen, and it looks like it's starting to clear up a little bit, I don't know. Scott Diamond destroys the Tigers. Anibal Sanchez goes up against Aduno. Dougie Fresh goes up against Correa. And Max Scherzer goes up against Mike Pelfrey. So, like I said, give Verlander the benefit of the fucking doubt. He's going to figure this out. And he's going to come back. And he's still good. He's only 30 years old. For people to say he's regressing, he's only 30 years old. He was 29 at the start of this year. Just take a chill pill and stop getting on this guy because he's had a bad stretch. Holy Christ. So, the Tigers always play good at home. I'm expecting 3 of 4 this series. I don't think we're going to win tonight, even though I think Porcello, he's going to pitch a good game because he's been pitching good. But I think we could take 3 of 4 from these guys. Go Tigers.